What is good, everybody? It's your boy Champagne Chico, and we are here with something new. I know there's a lot of NBA 2K simulations of rookies' careers and stuff like that, but I wanted to see how you guys will like this Bryce Young and his career simulation with the Panthers or whatever team he ends up joining if he ends up leaving the Panthers at any point. It's going to be on auto. Everything's going to be on auto. I'm not controlling anything. I'm just here to see how many championships, how his stats look throughout the seasons and stuff like that, and how he measures alongside the greats by the end of this. But if you enjoy NFL content, the Panthers, Bryce Young, the NFL draft, anything like that, please go down there, like and subscribe. Whenever it's mock draft season in terms of like college season, I'm going to be dropping mock drafts every week, so that's going to be a normal thing whenever that comes about. And I'm planning to keep this up with the different quarterbacks in this draft and other players as well. It just depends on how much you guys like it. But let me know down in the comments below how you like this idea, and if somebody else has already done it, then great. I've never seen it. I just thought about it today whenever I was thinking about what I could do in terms of simulations, and I was going to do Scoot Henderson on the NBA, but we're going to do Bryce Young. Another number one prospect like Wembanyama that you kind of expected him to go first no matter what. No matter how many rumors there were of him possibly not going first and stuff like that. So he has Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders, Ika Mekwonu, a solid O-line. His center and left guard could use some work. DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault. It's a solid team. Brian Burns, of course. Von Bell, Jeremy Chin, Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Eric Rowe, Shaq Thompson. You got a really good team here. You got a really good team and a really bright future with it. So we have to see how he does with it. We will be stopping at the mid-season mark for the first 5 seasons in his rookie contract. Once his rookie contract is up, we'll just go towards the end of the season, see how he does in the entire season, and go about it like that, because his career might be a long one because he is a QB. So we'll see how everything goes, and hopefully Bryce Young has a hell of a career. And at the midseason mark, the Carolina Panthers are 5-2 with Bryce Young at the helm of it. We'll look at what overall he is, and then go look at his stats right now. 83 overall right now. It's supposed to be on auto, so he could be an 84 pretty soon. We're going to have to look at his stats, though, and hopefully he's among the top rookies. 1,800 yards, 17 passing touchdowns, and 111 passer rating. I need to look a little bit more deep. 4 interceptions, which isn't bad at all. 70% completion, 262 yards per game, 7.9 yards per attempt. His long is 46. He's gotten sacked 7 times, and he's played all the games in the season. So, having a pretty good start so far. We're not going to worry too much about the rest of the roster right now until we get to the end of the season. I just wanted to see how he is doing currently right now. I could implement the next draft class right now. I think I will, just so we can have like that Caleb Williams storyline alongside Bryce Young, because they've been both very big prospects since high school. So I'm going to put him in, and then we're going to simulate to the end of the season. As I said, all of this is auto, so there's no signing players, like me personally signing players and doing things like that. So I'll see you at the end of the season. We'll see if we make the playoffs. And at the end of the season, they go 14-3. Wow. Bryce Young must have developed a lot. They get a first-round bye. He is still a star, and Miles Sanders is injured, so Chuba Hubbard has been getting the RB1 shares. And Bryce Young is an 89 overall. Everybody else looks solid. Brian Burns is still a superstar. Gross Matos is getting up there on the depth chart. But we can go ahead and take a look at the roster stats, as we were 6th in offensive yards. Bryce Young looked like he had a great season. 9th in defensive yards. Bryce Young had 4,600 yards, 49 TDs, and 11 interceptions with 270 yards per game. Miles Sanders had 1,300 yards and 12 TDs, so it seemed like it was recent that he got injured. That's unfortunate. Adam Thielen with 1,013 TDs. Defense, pretty good. Shaq Thompson had the most tackles. Derek Brown had 18 TFLs, and Brian Burns had 17 sacks, with Shaq Thompson getting 2 interceptions. Wow, so Bryce Young is leading the charge right now with a first-round bye. So we have to see if they're going to be able to beat the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not necessarily going to be doing the commentating thing that I usually do in the rebuilds just because it's not me personally doing it. If we get to the Super Bowl, then yeah, I'll probably do it. But we're just going to simulate past this week, see if they beat the Los Angeles Rams with Aaron Donald, and they do. They move on and get past them with a 42-21 victory. Now they're facing the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 11-6 as well, whose defense took a hit. And we lost by 1 point against the Eagles. That is unfortunate, man. Bryce Young did win Offensive Rookie of the Year, though, with us winning Coach of the Year. The Titans win the Super Bowl. But damn, Bryce Young was leading the charge. I didn't customize the coach to be my character or whatever. I'm not doing all that right now. But we're going to simulate past free agency and all that. And we're just going to see what all this team does to add to this in free agency and see what pickups they make. Oh, and we signed Michael Thomas in the offseason. Bryce Young is up to a superstar. Well, Michael Thomas was the big pickup in this offseason. Doesn't seem like much else. Oh, Landon Collins is at middle linebacker now. Interesting. But that's another one, and I think that's about it in terms of the overall team. We didn't get much else other than that, but Michael Thomas is a big pickup for the receiving core of Bryce Young. So now we simulate past... Actually, I can't even do it. Oh, yes, I can. I'm going to simulate past the draft and see what type of pickups we make because we did get to the NFC Conference Championship, so we might not have a high pick, but we could get a pick that does matter for us. We got a free safety in the draft, which makes sense in a way. I mean, we had Jeremy Chin. He could have played free safety, but I'm not controlling this team. A good pickup, a good pickup. We have to see how he does in this next season. Bryce Young, officially a superstar, 88 overall with the new wide receiver with Michael Thomas. And that's really about it. The defense, still the same. I mean, Derek Brown is up to superstar. Mukboka is going to be behind Xavier Woods for right now. They could just trade Xavier Woods. Oh, it looks like one of the rookies that we got is already star. Interesting. Well, we'll see what happens at the midseason mark. See how everything goes and see if we have the same pace as last year. And at the midseason mark, we are 4-2. Have we made it to Superstar X Factor yet with Bryce Young? Not yet. Not yet. Still a 90 overall, though. He keeps going up. He keeps going up in overall. We'll take a quick look at his stats right now and see if he is at the top of the league. 1,600 yards, 14 TDs, and 114 passer rating. Seems like the team overall is doing pretty well. He has 4 interceptions, 14 TDs, 266 yards per game, 9 yards per attempt, and 39 long, and getting sacked 8 times on the season. So he's not doing horrible. Not as good as last season, to be quite honest with you. But a lot of room for improvement, but he is 4-2. The team is 4-2 right now. They do have a chance to pick it up right now and be able to get that same bye that they did last season. We didn't get the bye, but we were 10-7, winning the division again. We're going to have to see. CJ Stroud and Dick Van Dyke are at the top of the league right now. Bryce Young with 4,600 yards, 39 TDs, and 107.5 passer rating with 15 TDs on the season. Oh, it's not great. It's not great compared to his past year. He definitely isn't doing as well as he did last year, but it could be just a sophomore slump right now, and he just needs to pick it up. But we're facing the Green Bay Packers in the first round, meaning the wild card, and we have to see if we're able to move on past them. Both 10-7, and we do. We beat them 38-21. Now we have to face the Dallas Cowboys and see how that goes. We could never mind. I was going to try to see if we could look at the box score from that game, but I don't think we can. As we move on, and we don't move on to the NFC Conference Championship, we lose by 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. Damn, man. Another season that Bryce Young falls short of getting to the Super Bowl, one of the biggest events in sports history. We got to move to the offseason and see what this team does to add more for Bryce Young. Very interesting moves going on right now for the team. Not a lot in terms of just overall value. We re-signed a lot of our players. We re-signed Jeremy Chin, Louvu, Laviska Shenault, Gross Matos, CJ Henderson. But then we released Landon Collins, Tim Boyle, CJ Saunders, and Brian Johnson. Why? I don't know. We're already past free agency, and it doesn't seem like they're able to get anybody. So we could see what they get in this draft. And we got a middle linebacker, so we fill in that spot. He's a 75 overall, so it's not bad. A defensive tackle, that's a 73. And Evan Thorne, who is a 75. So very good top 3 picks by the scouting department. After that, it kind of fell off. But the top 3 picks, very valuable pieces for our team. They could add to a very young core. And we have to see if Bryce Young likes it this next year. And at the beginning of his 3rd season, he is a 91 overall, still a superstar. We still have Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen. Laviska Shenault is actually injured. So Marshall's the wide receiver 3. We have a young wide receiver on our team. And Miles Sanders is also a superstar. I'm not sure if that was already a thing. But 2 hidden development players on defense. That should be good for our future right now, as Frankie Louvu's also injured. I'm not turning off injuries in this because it's just not a realistic career simulation. Injuries happen, and we're going to go through it as much as possible. So we're going to simulate to the midseason mark. I think this is his second to last season on his rookie contract. So we're going to have to see what they do about re-signing him. And we go 5-1. Bryce Young's young career has already started off really good. He is still a 92, but he's leading the team. Everybody is back from injury, it seems. Louvu's back also. Dudley's up to 77, so he might be very good on our team. We'll take a quick look at Bryce Young's stats right now. He's not a top passing leader at the moment. So 1,900 yards, 13 TDs, and 122 passer rating for Bryce Young. Throwing 3 interceptions, 73% completion, and 330 yards per game. That's an improvement. And a 75-yard long is very good for the young player. 3 years into his career, I think this is his second to last year. So next year is when they should be re-signing him. We're going to take a look real quick just to make sure. We're going to take a look at his contract because I think it is a 4-year contract if I'm not mistaken. Oh, he signed until 2026 actually. So we got a good minute. We have a good minute till we have to worry about Bryce Young and his contract situation. So he's going to be with the Panthers for a while. As we're going to simulate to the end of the season, see how Bryce Young finishes off the season, and hopefully he has a bye week in the first round. Wow, and we significantly fell off after that mid-season mark, going 9-8, but still winning the division. I don't know how. I don't know how he won the division going 9-8. But 11th in offensive yards and 30th in defensive. That would do it. That would do it. Bryce Young had 5,000 yards, 37 TDs, and 10 interceptions. Kind of fell off a little bit in terms of completion and things like that. Miles Sanders did not hit 1,000. Seems like he probably got injured. Michael Thomas was the leading receiver. Defense, Shaq Thompson, of course, with the most. Gross Matos with 11 TFLs. Brian Burns with 16 sacks. And Shaq Thompson with 4 interceptions. So we get to the playoffs. We're facing the New York Giants, who have Saquon Barkley, who was a 99 overall. So we are going to simulate past this round and see if we're able to get past them with a 9-8 record, and we do. We move on to face the Arizona Cardinals, who probably still have Kyler Murray on their team. We could take a look right now and make sure they do have Budda Baker still, who didn't he request a trade from the Arizona Cardinals and they still haven't done it yet? I could have sworn he requested a trade from the Cardinals. But they have Budda Baker, Marquise Brown, Ezekiel Elliott, Rondale Moore, Ed Oliver, Paris Johnson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Thompson, Isaiah Simmons, Jeff Okudah. Wow. A very young, good roster for them. 9-8, though. Gonna have to see who comes out on top. And We come out on top and beat them 28-10 as we're facing the Philadelphia Eagles. And they probably still have the same team overall, if anything. But we're still going to take a look anyways. They have A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, who probably got a new contract, Hassan Reddick, Lane Johnson, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, Darius Slay, and Josh Sweat, and DeAndre Swift still. Gotta have to see if we can get past them finally and move on to the Super Bowl, as we're going to simulate straight there, and we don't make it. We miss it again. We miss it again, and another year that Bryce Young just barely misses the Super Bowl and the Lombardi Trophy. Did he win any awards on the season? No. No, he didn't. C.J. Mosley wins Super Bowl MVP against the Eagles as the Raiders beat the Eagles, but that's unfortunate. Okay, so we made some big pickups this offseason because we had $100 million. They spent about 70 of it. So we got John Bates at tight end, Gardner Minshew, who I'm assuming is going to be a backup, Donald Parham Jr. on a 3-year deal, Eno Benjamin on a 3-year deal, Sheldon Rankins on a 1-year, Broderick Martin, who's a defensive tackle, on a 1-year, Isaiah Johnson, who's a cornerback, Elijah Mitchell. Why are we signing so many running backs? Did Miles Sanders move on or something? Eddie Jackson. Wow. Jordan Jackson at defensive tackle. Mike White. Why are we signing so many players? Wait, was this the same offseason? It is. It's the same offseason. Mike White. Greg Russo. Hello? Elijah Moore. Oh, Adam Thielen retired. And so did John Feliciano. And we released C.J. Henderson. That's crazy, man. But a lot of pickups. Greg Russo is a massive pickup for the Panthers. Putting that on the other side of Brian Burns, lethal. Absolutely lethal. We're going to simulate past the draft. I don't know if any rookies is really going to help our team right now. Yeah, not the greatest draft. We tried to get a right tackle, and it seems like he wasn't that great. A 72 overall. Probably not even hidden development either, so we got a lot of good pickups this offseason, though. And Bryce Young is finally superstar X Factor on our team. One of the rookies that we have a whole halfback room. They need to trade some of these guys because there's no reason for us to have that much. But Elijah Moore, Michael Thomas, Laviska Shenault, Mumpfield, Tommy Tremble, Parham Jr. So it seems like Hayden Hurst moved on or he just retired. But Greg Russo and Brian Burns is an insane duo. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that works out. We have a very good defense, a very good offense. We're going to have to see how they perform. And with that whole squad, we're only 3-4. I guess Bryce Young is a little overwhelmed by how much he has, because he's a 95 overall superstar X Factor. It must be the defense. It could possibly be the defense, because the defensive line is solid. The defensive line is definitely solid. It just might be Brian Burns is a sack leader right now, but we're only going to worry about Bryce Young. 11th in offensive yards. He has 1,800 yards, 18 TDs, and 117 passer rating, and it is the defense. They're 16th in the league. They got to do better. 27-24 was the last loss that we have, and now we're facing the 5-2 Saints. So this could be the start of some momentum. This could be. There's not a lot of holes to fill except for maybe defensive tackle, and that's why I haven't really been looking at the drafts, because it hasn't really mattered much. So we're going to simulate to the playoffs and see how this team finishes off after going 3-4. Wow, and we completely turned it around, going 7-2 for the remainder of the season. I'm assuming that Bryce Young can't really improve any more than he already has. He's already superstar X Factor, 99 overall. Absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. And our defense still looks solid. I mean, J.C. Horn's injured, but I think we can still hold it. I think we can still hold it for right now. Stats and awards, though. 4,900 yards, second in offensive yards, 47 TDs, and 125 passer rating, sixth in defensive. So the team is still going strong. The team is still going strong. Only 5 interceptions with a 73% completion rate. Miles Sanders gets over that 1,300-yard mark. Laviska Shenault is the one with 1,000-plus yards. Defense, Dudley has the most tackles because he is the middle linebacker. Brian Burns has 13, with Greg Russo having 11. And Greg Russo had 18.5 sacks. And Brian Burns had 11.5. Eddie Jackson and Dante Jackson had 3 interceptions too. So this team is doing really well right now. They just need to get past the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts and the team that we have spoken about previously. And we do move on and beat them convincingly too. One new injury though. That's not good. We have a lot of injuries. Donald Parham, Magbuka, Bradley Christensen, J.C. Horn, and now DJ Johnson. Out for 12 weeks, TJ Johnson. So we have to beat the Vikings with an injured team right now, 10-7. Let's see if we can move on to the NFC Conference Championship. And we do, and we're facing the same team that started our momentum to get to 11-6 now. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the roster as we are in the NFC Conference Championship. So this means a little more. And Marshawn Lattimore is at the top with Chris Olave, Ryan Ramczyk, Alvin Kamara, Tyrann Mathieu, Brian BRYCE, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and that's really about it. I don't see the quarterback anywhere to be found, so could take advantage of that as we try to move on to the Super Bowl for the first time in Bryce Young's career. And we will make it to the Super Bowl in Atlanta facing the Indianapolis Colts, as we will hop into this one and commentate how it goes. And the Colts do start off with the ball as they're going to try and get something going here, but are not able to, as our defense does wake up and our offense goes downfield and helps the defense out by getting a touchdown. And we're trying to get another, but we stick with the field goal, making it a 10-0 game, as it is the start of the second quarter with the Colts having the ball. And 3-and-outed after a big reception, 10-0, and Miles Sanders goes all the way downfield for almost a 75-yard touchdown. 2nd-and-8, they convert. 3rd-and-5, 4th-and-5, and they go with the field goal to knock it down to a 14-point lead. 4th-and-10, we have to punt it away, and our defense isn't able to hold them on 3rd down, but they are on this one. And they get another field goal, making it a 17-6 game, as we are not able to answer back in any way right now, as we punt it again, and they are going to get another field goal, 17-9 right before the half. We could get some points up on the board to help us out in some way right now, as a penalty knocks us forward by Dallas Turner. 36-yard line, or 36 seconds at the 7-yard line, and we get the touchdown right before the half with Elijah Moore. I was about to say Elijah Miller. 23 seconds left on the clock, 24-9, as they're getting into field goal range, and they're going to get a field goal before the half. They just can't stop getting field goals right now. 24-12, as we start off with the ball and immediately get a reception to get a touchdown, 31-12, and it seems like the momentum is all on our side after getting that interception. We do stick with the field goal, but that makes it a 22-point lead for us as they go downfield and only get another field goal, but they get an interception. Almost meant nothing, but they get to the goal line and they get the touchdown to make it a 34-22 game in the fourth quarter, as all we have to do is maybe score one more time, and we do that, 41-22 with 3 minutes left, and that's all but over for right now. And Bryce Young is going to move on and win his very first Super Bowl in his career. Bryce Young, the superstar, X Factor, 99 overall. Don't know how he was running onto the field and is now shocked on the sidelines. But Gross Matos, Brian Burns, Greg Russo, all these guys have won their first Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. A very big win for Bryce Young's career on his rookie contract as well. So a lot of space for people to come in and win and help him out as much as possible, like Michael Thomas. Who else did we get? Elijah Moore. Donald Parham joined, but that didn't really mean much. We got Elijah Mitchell. We got, like I said, Greg Russo, as Bryce Young is going to hold the Lombardi Trophy and wins his very first Super Bowl, and it could be the first of many. And at the 2025 season recap, Miles Sanders wins Super Bowl MVP as we blow out the Indianapolis Colts. And none of our players won any yearly awards, but we won the biggest one, as we're going to move on and hopefully keep the team that we have. We still have 92 mils, so a lot of room to work with. We're going to have to see at the draft if we get them back or if we end up losing a lot of players. A lot of solid signings with the money that we had. We did get Grover Stewart. Byron Young at defensive tackle joins the team. Kyler Gordon joins the team at cornerback. It seems like it's a lot of people that are trying to join as to win, and Grady Jarrett joins the team as well. Dante Jackson came back. Wow, we released Donald Parham and Gardner Minshew. Interesting enough. And we had a lot of solid signings. I wouldn't say they were very pivotal, but we get some good players to put around Bryce. Hopefully he is still on the team. We have to take a look at how much longer he has on his contract, as he is a 99 overall. And we have to go ahead and see. I don't really care where this goes because he's already a 99. And his contract... No. Why is he not already captain? This is the last year of his deal. This is the last year of this deal. We're going to have to check at the midseason mark if they end up re-signing him early so he doesn't go into free agency or the offseason without being re-signed. So we're going to simulate past the draft. If there's anything key that we get, I'll show you. But if not, we'll start the next season off. And at the start of season 4 or 5 for Bryce Young, I'm not 100% sure. Let me see, actually. We're already here. At the start of season 5, because he has played 4 years, he is a 98 overall superstar, X Factor. And Michael Thomas has regressed significantly, but Elijah Moore has gone up. Tommy Tremble is up to superstar, which is great for our team. Greg Russo. Oh, Brian Burns is injured. That's why we signed Grady Jarrett. Okay. Grover Stewart, Zach Pickens. Still a solid team. Still a solid team. I'm sure that Brian Burns isn't going to be out for much longer. Out for 1 week, so that's not bad for us at all. We're going to see how everything goes. I'm going to check on his contract situation at the midseason mark, and we'll see how his stats look at the midseason mark. At the midseason mark, we are 5-2, but the more pressing matter right now is Bryce Young's contract, as he is officially a 99 overall. I don't think you can let a player like this walk at all at this point, and they have re-signed him. Jesus! Until 2033. He's getting $58 million next year, then 60, then 63, then 66, then 70, and then there's a significant drop-off. Wow. What a contract. What a contract. That is insane. Well, we won't be leaving the Panthers anytime soon. I didn't customize a coach because I thought I was going to have to leave the Panthers at some point and didn't want to waste my time. But the team looks the same overall. Yeah, Shaq Thompson is the only one that's regressing right now. Our cornerbacks are getting hurt, which isn't great for us. But we are 5-2. We'll take a look at the stats. Bryce Young is a top leader, as he is 2,100 yards, second in offensive yards, first in passing touchdowns, and 17th in defensive. He has, again, 2,100 yards, 23 TDs, and 5 interceptions on 70% completion rate and 300 yards per game. Bryce Young is having himself a career already, and that contract basically shows it. 5-2. Wow. This past draft wasn't great for us. I don't assume that we're going to have a lot of good ones until we get into rebuilding years, and with Bryce Young, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. And we go 11-6 to finish off the season with our quarterback. I don't assume that he's going to be any different, but he is a top passing leader in the league. He is hitting his prime now. 5th in offensive yards and 5th in defensive. Wow. Bryce Young with 4,900 yards, 42 TDs, and 15 interceptions with 68% completion rate. 287 yards per game. Rushing, Miles Sanders got 1,300 yards. Receiving, Elijah Moore with 1,100. And Michael Thomas at the tail end of his career with 1,000. Defense, Shaq Thompson getting the most tackles. Brian Burns with 19 TFLs. Greg Russo with 11. And Greg Russo had 23 sacks, and Brian Burns had 17. Interceptions, though, Eddie Jackson had 3, and J.C. Horn had 2. So we get to the playoffs once again. We do get to the playoffs, and we're facing the New York Giants just like the last time. We're going to have to see if we're able to get past them again. Going 11-6 on the season, they went 10-7, and we do move on and have to face the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional, as we're going to make this very quick and try to get past them, and we do. We get to the NFC Conference Championship against the Washington Commanders, who's a team that we haven't seen yet. who are 13-4. They must have had a big pickup for them, but I'm intrigued by who they got. Terry McLaurin's a 99 overall. Chase Young's a 97. Jonathan Allen. Jack Sawyer, who's a left outside linebacker. Deron Payne at defense tackle. Brian Robinson, who's up to a 91. Landon Dickerson joined the team. Kendall Fuller, Jahan Dotson, Montez Sweat, Derek Forrest, Emmanuel Forbes did get drafted by them. Curtis Samuel. I don't see any quarterback, though. I don't see any quarterback. So that's another shot. That's another shot to possibly get past them as we're going to simulate to the Super Bowl, hopefully making it past the Washington Commanders as we do and have to face the same opponent as we did last year. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to go back-to-back on the same team. And the Colts do start off with the ball and are able to go downfield and get some points up on the board, but get the turnover as well and make it a quick 10-0 game as we're trying to answer back, and we get the touchdown 10-7. And by the end of the first, it is still going to be 10-7, but they get downfield and we stop them and make them take a field goal. We can get a touchdown right here and be able to take the lead, our first lead of the game, and we do just that. 14-13. Ooh, 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and we're not able to do much on our drive. And our punt was a great one. 3rd and 8, 4th and 2, and they're going to punt it back to us as we turn it over. 4th and 10. Anthony Richardson on the team. 16-14 now because they got a field goal, and we go all the way downfield with ease. 21-16 with a minute left in the second, and the Colts are making their way downfield right now. As they get to the 32, they get a little bit closer, and they take the touchdown. Wow, 23-21. I was expecting the field goal. 23-21, we do start off with the ball, and we need a touchdown to answer back because now 1st and goal because of a five-yard penalty by DeForest Buckner. 2nd and goal, and we get the touchdown, making it a 28-23 game. As 2nd and 13, 3rd and 4, they get the conversion, and they're going to go downfield and get the touchdown, making it a 31-28 game as we are not able to get much. I don't know what's going on. 34-31. And we got the touchdown? Where did that happen? Where did that happen? 2nd and 3. I'm not tripping, right? 4th quarter, 35-31. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and we let them convert. Damn. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 5, 4th and 3, and they convert again. 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal, and that time we're not allowing it. 10-yard penalty, and they turn over the ball as they get sacked by Brian Burns as we can run out this clock here and win this game. And that's what I think we're trying to do, but we have to punt it back to them. They have a chance now. 1:40 left in this. A minute. They're getting into field goal range, and they get the touchdown with 30 seconds left on the clock as they get a 3-point lead. 28 seconds. This is where legends are made, Bryce Young. Oh, 42-yard line. Oh my gosh, 3 seconds left, and we take the last time out, and we tie it up before overtime. And we're going to overtime, and they get the first touchdown with a 75-yard rush by Jonathan Taylor. Oh my gosh, what a run. 3rd and 2. We don't need no big play. Oh, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 13, 4th and 13. And the Colts beat us and prevent us from going back-to-back on them. Wow. Wow, that is shocking. We were up. We were up on them. And they just started to come back slowly and came back in the last second, too, because we were up. Oh, man, that's tough, bro. That is tough. And Anthony Richardson did win Super Bowl MVP. Greg Russo won Defensive Player of the Year. That's great for him, but we weren't able to finish it off and get the big trophy again. And Michael Thomas retires. So that releases a lot off of our books right now. But we did re-sign a lot of our players. Not a lot of big signings, though. So nothing crazy to look at right now. I don't think that we're going to do anything in the draft. So I will just see you in the next season. And this is going to be the start of us going just year by year. We're not going to worry about the midseason mark in general. But we're going to take one last look at the roster for this season. And 99 overall, Bryce Young is there. Bryce Young is a 99 overall. Elijah Moore is a 90 overall. Miles Sanders is a 96 superstar. A lot of players progressing right now. Mukbuka, one of our first rookies, is a superstar now. That is great for him. That is fantastic for him. Our team looks good. We're just going to simulate to the end of the season. Hopefully, make it to the playoffs. All right, so just to catch y'all up, because my streaming software decided to stop working for a second as I went to go walk my dog. We got to the Super Bowl again. We had a first-round bye. We got past the Giants. We got past the Vikings. We had to face the Chiefs, and we lost by a touchdown. And nobody from our team won any awards, so it didn't really matter much. I mean, it's another loss on Bryce Young's resume. But yeah, we weren't able to get that, I guess. Like, my streaming software just decided to give up on that. So this is the next offseason after that. We didn't really get much right now in the offseason, so that's not fantastic for us because we had $110 million for them to use, and they didn't use that much. So might be the downfall, but we went 14-3. I'm not sure exactly how much it got before it just corrupted. And in the new season, after Bryce Young had another historical season, his wide receiver core seems pretty good with Elijah Moore and Laviska Shenault being 85 pluses. Miles Sanders is still the running back at a 93 overall. The offense looks good. It's where the defense comes in. Greg Rousseau left us, so not the best situation for us right now. Brian Burns is still on the team. J.C. Horn is still on the team, but everybody else basically left us in the cornerback room. Jeremy Chin is still here. We still have our first rookie that we had in this. Not a great situation right now. We're going to have to see if Bryce Young's able to pull it off as we're going to send him to the playoffs and see if we make it. Wow, and we get another first-round bye. I am genuinely surprised because it did not seem like it was going to be that type of season. 11th in offensive yards. Bryce Young was middle of the line. 3rd in defensive. Our defense actually performed well. 4,500 yards, 44 TDs, and 7 interceptions for Bryce Young. Miles Sanders got past the 1,000 yards. Receiving, Laviska Shenault. None of our receivers got past 1,000. Dudley had the most tackles. Brian Burns seems to be falling off, but he had 15.5 sacks. J.C. Horn with 3 picks. Wow, 12-5 gets us the first round bye because we won the division, so we must have won the conference too going 12-5. So we're going to simulate past this week, go to the divisional, and see who we have to face, and that is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, who have Kenneth Walker, who they are basically misusing right now after drafting Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet, I don't care. 9-8 Seahawks, and we're going to simulate past it to see if we make it to the NFC Conference Championship, as we do. And we're facing the Washington Commanders, who have Chase Young and that entire squad that we were talking about the last time. We're going to simulate to the Super Bowl, 12-5. They are 9-8. We'll see if we're able to come out on top, as we do, and we have to face the Chiefs again. Like I don't know if it got me saying it, but I was going to say, or I said, that I'm not going to be commentating these. I commentated the first 2. It was entertaining and all that. But I'm not going to be doing that for every single one. I don't want to like dry it out and have y'all get bored of it. So the 10-7 Chiefs and the 12-5 Carolina Panthers, we have to see who comes out on top in Minneapolis at 6:30 p.m. And we lost again. But we got blown out this time. The last time we only lost by a touchdown. And now we got beat by 21 points as Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP, and none of our players win any awards, as they shouldn't have, because we just got blown out in the Super Bowl, and they basically did nothing with the money. So we're going to simulate past the draft, hopefully getting something in the draft at this point, but we did make the Super Bowl, so we probably won't have a very high draft pick. And now, going to the 2028 offseason, well, the 2029 draft, the draft recap, we get absolutely nothing. We get a right outside linebacker that's a 74 overall. If he's hit in development, then that's great. We're going to have to see in this new season. But with like 4 years left on Bryce Young's contract, they're not doing so hot. And with Miles Sanders leaving us, Dave Lloyd? Auto-generated person, gotta be. Gotta be auto-generated. Halfback for us right now, Bryce Young is still a 99 overall. We have the same wide receiver core, and Tremble's an 86, as our defense is still kind of falling off, but the free safety is a superstar X factor now, as Brian Burns is still that as well. Our outside linebackers suck. Other than that, though, pretty solid overall. Pretty solid overall. We're going to simulate to the end of the season, see if Bryce Young's able to carry this team, and see if we're able to win another one. Ooh, 9-8 at the end of the season as the Bucs win the division. This might be the decline now. 14th in offensive yards and 25th in defensive. I think we're just going to start worrying about Bryce Young only. 4,800 yards, 43 TDs, and 13 interceptions on the season for Bryce Young. So he's doing fine. It must be the defense then, but 9-8 isn't great as we're facing one of the better defenses in the league. As we're going to try to move on to the divisional championship as we do. We move on, beating them convincingly, 35-7, and the Bears have Damian Pierce on their team. I'm intrigued to see who they have, because that completely caught me off guard. They have Damian Pierce, Gervin Dexter, Jalen Johnson, T. Higgins, Josh Allen, Miles Murphy. Who's their QB? And 83 overall, Justin Fields at age 30. We're going to have to see what happens in this one as we try to move on to the NFC Conference Championship, and we do not. We lose by 3 against the Chicago Bears. That is unfortunate. And we get a free agent for a 3-year, $33 million deal. We released Michael Carter. Jelani Stamper gets a contract, and that's it. And at the start of the new season, our defense isn't the greatest overall. It's really our offense that's really doing the heavy lifting in terms of the overall. We did get a wide receiver in the draft. I wanted to see if he was hidden development, but he is a 74 overall. The defense is just horrible. It's just horrible. Brian Burns, J.C. Horn, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for our future in terms of just being able to make the Super Bowl. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see as we simulate to the playoffs once again as we are in. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick at the amount of years that Bryce Young has been in the league. He's been in the league for 8, so this is his 9th year in the league. And his contract right now has 4 years left. It has 4 years left. They have a lot of cap space. They're just not using it for some reason. I'm confused as to why, but not my issue. We're here for the career simulation. We're going to simulate to the end of the season and see how Bryce Young does. And at the end of the season, we go 10-7, winning the division once again. Well, we didn't win it last year. The Bucs did, but still Bryce Young show. It is still the Bryce Young show. Currently, the line is tremendous for us. Again, the defense is the only issue. I mean, they have their spots, but Jeremy Chin is regressing a lot. We're going to look at Bryce Young's stats right now. Not going to look at much else except for this. 23rd in offensive yards. Ooh. And 7th in defensive. Wow, Bryce Young had 4,300 yards, 38 TDs, and 14 interceptions with the 79-yard long. As we are the 5th best coach in the league, supposedly. As we're facing the Washington Commanders in the first round, who are 8-9, as we're going to try to take advantage of that and move on to the divisional championship with an 84 overall defense, as we do not. We get beat by the defense-heavy Washington Commanders. They take advantage of ours. So, we're going to have to see what they do in the offseason. We still have a lot of cap space. As again, we do not get a lot of great players in free agency, and our right guard retires after 13 years. Again, not a lot of great free agents. We got a strong safety, we got some cornerbacks, and we got a defensive tackle, but I feel like there's probably better prospects out there in the free agency class with the amount of money that we have. And at the start of the new season, we're just hoping for something good from the defense right now, but we did replace our right guard, so that is great. Doesn't seem like any of our rookies were on the offensive side, and it doesn't seem like we got any good ones in the draft at all. Okay, so an 86 overall team. Bryce Young is regressing just a little bit at a 98. Let's simulate to the end of the season, see if we make the playoffs, and see how far we push and how good Bryce Young does. And we go 11-6, but we don't win the division as the Saints are 12-5. Stats and awards. It seems like there's a lot of great QBs in the league now. 16th in offensive yards and 4th in defensive. Bryce Young goes for 4,400 yards, 39 TDs, and 14 interceptions with a 73-yard long. Rushing, Del Richards with a lot of yards. This is where we're getting to a point that most of these players we don't know. And that's why I'm just doing Bryce Young, and that's about it. Because we only really know Bryce Young and his team at this point. Most of the other players have already retired. And I think by the time Bryce Young's contract is up in 2033, which is coming up actually, surprisingly enough, we've been getting through this. But we're facing the Dallas Cowboys in the first round as Bryce Young is a Superstar X Factor 99 overall, who has been in the league for 9 years. This is going to be his 10th at age 30. 5'10" out of Alabama. Hell of a prospect so far in his career. He's won 1 Super Bowl, has made it to 4 of them. And he's going to look to try to make it again and get past the Dallas Cowboys in the first round, as he does. And he's going to be facing the Chicago Bears, who we have looked at previously. We're going to hopefully get to the NFC Conference Championship by getting past them as well. And we do. We're facing the Detroit Lions. So it seems like the Saints already lost in the divisional, and possibly to the Detroit Lions, as I'm trying to speak too fast. And we're going to look to beat them to move on to the Super Bowl. We are simulating to the Super Bowl in 2031, technically 2032, and we're not going to make it. The Detroit Lions move on and face the Bengals in the Battle of Cats. If this was the NBA, Bryce Young would have requested a trade at this point. And I'm only saying that because today Damian Lillard requested a trade, and he's trying to go to the Heat, so I'm psyched. Wow, and with all the money that we have, we still have not been able to sign anybody in any of these free agencies. We have $113 million and are doing absolutely nothing with it. And Bryce Young has gone down 2 overalls. Not the greatest look in the world. The offense still looks pretty solid right now. The defense still mediocre. Still mediocre. I mean, they're decent overalls. They're just not development traits, so not very reliable. Brian Burns is still on the team, but is regressing as well, as the entire roster is basically doing the same as we are in the year 2032, which technically, if we're talking about real life, this is 2033. But we're going to simulate to the end of the season. Hopefully, Bryce Young pushes for another Super Bowl with this team. And we go 12-5. 12-5 at the end of the season. 5th in offensive yards. And the defense, 16th. Jesus. Okay. Bryce Young, almost 5,000 yards, 47 TDs, and 9 interceptions. It's not a bad season. It's not, but you have to keep that up in the playoffs in order to make a push, as we do get the first round bye. So we have a chance. We only have to win 2 games to make the Super Bowl in this situation, as we are facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have Zach Barden, who I think is auto-generated. And most of the players at this point are auto-generated, with most of the players that you know already out the league. So the 9-8 Bucs is who we are facing to hopefully make to the NFC Conference Championship, as we do. And we're facing Kayvon Thibodeau of the New York Giants in the NFC Conference Championship, who are 10-7, as we are going to simulate to the Super Bowl. And our defense is an 80 overall, but our offense is a 91 as we push for the Super Bowl. Brett Lucas, see, this is where I will commentate, because I don't know how much longer Bryce Young's going to have, because it's getting to the end of his contract. So we're going to have to see, as the Texans do start off with the ball and are going to be going downfield to get the first touchdown of the day, as we're not able to do the same, as they are locking us up on defense. And our defense is not capable of stopping them. So our offense has to pick it up at some point. And they get another one. 17-0. 3rd and 4. And it seems like we're about to get blown out in this game. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh, we got a pick. We did get a pick, and we got a turnover, but that's the end of the second quarter. Damn. 24-7 as we start off with the ball and have to punt it away. 4th and 8. Jeez, we are not able to do much right now. 3rd and 1, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 10, 4th and 5, and they missed the field goal. This could be our chance to come back into this, as we turn the ball over. Yeah, this is not our chance. We lose in the Super Bowl, because there's no way of us coming back into this. 27-7 in the Super Bowl. We get absolutely railed. That's disappointing, man. And it's still Bryce Young's last year of his contract as of right now. He is 32 years old. Still 99. So he can still stick around for a while. It just depends if he's going to be on the Panthers come next season. And J.C. Horn leaves the team. I just saw that. He just went to the Lions. Brian Burns retires. This is the beginning of the end. This is most definitely the beginning of the end for the Panthers run of Bryce Young. I don't know if it's going to be the end of Bryce Young's career in general, but $135 million, not using any of it in the offseason is just ridiculous at this point. And at the beginning of 2033, in the last year of Bryce Young's contract as of right now, we'll have to see by the end of the season if he ends up re-signing. But the offense looks solid. The offense looks good. It's just the defense. We're losing everybody on defense. Ooh, it's ugly. It's ugly right now. But Bryce Young is still a 97 overall superstar X Factor. We're going to simulate to the end of the season, or possibly to the midseason mark on this one, just to see if they end up re-signing him. And Bryce Young signs another 2 years on his contract. Pretty hefty 2 years, too. So he's going to be around until 2035 at least. I don't know why they didn't sign him for more. He's probably planning on retiring in 2035. And at the end of the season, we go 13-4, getting the first week bye of the playoffs. As we're going to look at the stats and awards, as we were second in offensive yards. It seems like Bryce Young is kicking into a new gear at the end of his career. Fourth in defensive, Bryce Young has 5,000 yards, 46 TDs, and 11 interceptions. Rushing, Del Richards, whoever this is, has 1,000+ yards. Elijah Moore is still kicking right now. Defense, nobody that we know. Nobody that we know. So we're going to go ahead and see what we're able to do in the playoffs, as we have 134 mil in cap space right now. We're going to simulate past the wild card, and we're going to be facing George Pickens and the Los Angeles Rams. When did they get George Pickens? They have George Pickens, Gerald Harper, right outside linebacker, center, left tackle, cornerback, and Ralph McLeod, who is a 86 overall QB. And the tight end's not that bad either. All right, let's see if we're able to get past them. They're a very young team. This is a very young team trying to make it, and they do. They make it past us at least 35-21. We get blown out once again in the playoffs. It's sad. It's sad. It's disappointing. It's disappointing at this point. Our coaches leave. We release a bunch of players. Elijah Moore has officially retired. We get a defensive tackle and a left end, and not even great contracts either in terms of like how much value they have. We have 115 mil. We're going into the 2034 season. We haven't gotten any good rookies at all in like the past 8 years of his career. So it hasn't been worth even showing with how consistent it's been bad. So we're going to take a look again, and one of the last years probably. 76 overall wide receiver to replace Elijah Moore. So that's going to help a lot, hopefully. And we're going to go to 2034 and see how Bryce Young does with his new group. And in 2034, the wide receiver that we got was not hit in development, but he is a 78 overall, as Goodrich is an 86, Richards is an 88. It's just the offense. The offense is great. The defense is not, because Brian Burns is gone. Our cornerback room sucks, or we don't have a strong safety. It's just not great. It's not great right now. Gonna have to see how they go about the season and see if we finally have a losing season. We actually haven't had one that we've missed the playoffs. And right when I say that, we go 8-9. Has Bryce Young regressed this season? He is a 96 overall. Still hasn't regressed that much. Offense still looks the same, and the defense still looks mediocre. Right when I say that. Right when I say that, we go and miss the playoffs. 9th in offensive yards and 25th in defensive yards. Who's above John Madden on the legacy board? 4,800 yards, 35 TDs, and 14 interceptions. Probably Vince Lombardi. But damn, man, that is unfortunate. We missed the playoffs for the first time in Bryce Young's career, and that we're going into his last season of the contract, and it just stays consistent right now. It just stays consistent. We're not getting much of anything in free agency with all the money that we have. And it's sad. It's definitely sad. We win a Super Bowl and then they get complacent. Bryce Young, I might take a look at his statistics and everything, he's down to a 93. Yeah, we're definitely going to go to the next season, and we're going to take a look at his statistics overall as a career, because it might be the last season of Bryce Young's career. All right, so in possibly his last year, Bryce Young has gotten 62,000 yards, 547 TDs, and 152 interceptions, and an average of 70% completion within a 100-yard long. Whoa, I never saw that. 5,000 completions on 7,200 attempts. I want to see where he ranks amongst the NFL records. Yeah, where is he at? He's not in the top 10. He's not in the top 10 for yards, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get up there. Passing touchdowns, Bryce Young is not there either. Wow. I wouldn't expect him to be on rushing at all. Let me take a look again, because I feel like I didn't get a good look, because I was looking for Bryce for some reason, or B. No. Nowhere. Nowhere at all. That is interesting. How many yards does he have? I thought he had like... Oh, he might get to it this year, actually. He might make it into the top 10 this year, so we're going to have to see what he does as a 96 overall now, as he is regressing. Or 93. 93 overall. 89 overall halfback. We have some solid wide receivers to help him out for this season. But yeah, this isn't the type of team that's going to take you to the Super Bowl with the type of defense that they have. So we're going to simulate past the season and see what type of statistics he finishes off his career with. And we do make the playoffs. We have to see, because I keep talking about how this is the last year of Bryce Young's career. He's up to a 96 because of morale, but I have to see what's going on with his contract situation, because they could have re-signed him. They definitely could have, but that also doesn't mean much. If he signed a one-year deal, that probably means that he's going to be retiring after this year. But we'll look at his stats afterwards. We will look at his stats after we try to get past the New York Giants in the wild card round, as we did not win the division, surprisingly enough, and we immediately lose. All right, well, we'll go ahead and look at the stats just in case he does end up retiring, and actually look at the NFL records, because he could be in the top 10 now. There he is. He officially made it, and so did CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence. A lot of the young players are pushing into it, but Bryce Young finally makes it to the top 10 in passing yards. So that's great for him and his legacy right now. We're going to have to see if he does end up retiring in the offseason, though, as we're going to sim to the offseason, look at the retirements, and see if he does fulfill that last year of his contract. It looks like he retired. It looks like he retired, because that was a big jump. Oh, no. Ika Mekwonu and Nate Anderson retired. His linemen are retiring before him. So that was the big jump in the cap room. So he is still on the team for this last year. 93 overall. Well, from morale, he's down to a 90. All right. I guess one last year for Bryce Young to possibly push into the top 5 of passing yards. All right. And in his last year of his contract, there's no way that he signs again, because he is a 90 overall now. But we did get a generational left guard, which I did see in the draft recap, but that was about the only thing. Defense still hasn't gotten nothing. So we're getting the lineman for Bryce Young. It's just the defense that are not being able to stop the other team from scoring. We're going to simulate to the playoffs for probably the last time and see if we make it. And we go 7-10. That is unfortunate. I am assuming, wow, Sean McVay was hired by the Colts at one point. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. I'm going to look at the records for right now just to make sure we don't miss out on anything. I'm not sure if it just forgets that we had him at some point, but he is a little bit higher. He jumped up to 9 because I think Joe Burrow retired. So he's up to 71,000 yards, as he had 4,500 yards on the season with 39 TDs and 103 passer rating. And we were 11th in offensive yards and 29th in defensive. So it was definitely the defense that didn't help us at all, as we went 7-10. And it seems like he's definitely at his lowest right now, probably lower than a 90. And he is still a 90. So he can still retire as one of the better quarterbacks in the league regardless. But we're going to simulate to the offseason, see if he officially does it. I haven't even looked and see if he signed a new deal, but I wouldn't imagine that he did after having a season like that. Oh, Patrick Mahomes retired after 20 years. Wow. And he still hasn't retired. I am flabbergasted. What is going on? Did he sign another year? Is he just going to keep signing one-year deals? He did. 2037. He's trying to get that bag. Jeez. Okay, well, we keep checking it like it's going to be the last year of his career, but we're just going to sim to the next season. I don't assume that we're going to make any moves, so I'm not even going to worry about checking that right now. And we at the start of the new season with Bryce Young at an 87 overall, still superstar X Factor, as he has a solid wide receiver core right now. And the defense picking it up. It could very well be a last push, almost like an Argentina World Cup push, that all the young players kind of really gave that energy to get the World Cup. And maybe we can do that with the Super Bowl. But we have to see. I don't know if this is his last year. I don't want to say it because he's going to keep signing those one-year deals. But we're going to have to see. We're going to check his contract at the end of the season in the playoffs and see what happens. As we go 13-4, let's check Bryce Young and his contract situation. Let's not try to look too deeply into his stats or anything before we think that he re-signed or something. And he did sign another year. I am falling asleep as I'm making this, but it's fine. 15 years in the league, 36 years old. You couldn't be older, Bryce Young. Jesus, bro. You're making this harder than it has to be. But the team is overall good, so I don't blame him for re-signing. I just hope that he does something with it. I do hope that he does something with it, as he was a top passing leader. And we were second in offensive yards and first in defensive. Wow. 4,900 yards, 42 TDs, and 10 interceptions for Bryce Young. Very solid. We'll take a quick look at the defense since they haven't really been doing much. It seems like we have our new defensive line at the moment because they seem pretty consistent. And our cornerbacks are doing well. They are doing well right now. Maybe they can make that final push for Bryce Young to get that last Super Bowl, as we have to bye in the first round of the playoffs. Sorry if my stuttering kicks in a little more because right now I am half asleep. And the Green Bay Packers are 8-9 going up against us in the divisional as they moved past the wild card. And we are 13-4 playing at the Bank of America Stadium, and we move on and are facing the Washington Commanders, who probably have a whole bunch of people that we don't know who they are. But they are 11-6, and we're going to simulate to the Super Bowl and see if Bryce Young can make one last push, as he does not. We don't make it, and we lose in the conference championship once again. Ooh, that's a tough way to go out. 2037, and none of our players win any awards, and the Steelers win the Super Bowl. That's unfortunate. That is most definitely unfortunate. Most of the players that we got after Bryce Young have already retired, so very interesting to see that he's still on the team. And he doesn't seem to have retired, still signing that next year deal, and he still has that 1 year left on his contract. He still does. Damn. I am trying to get past this as much as possible, but I do want to finish this right now and get it out to you guys tomorrow. But 2037, we're going into 2038, but technically 2039 for Bryce Young's real-life career. As once again, we are in another season of Bryce Young's career simulation, and he's down to an 86 overall as we lose one of our wide receivers to free agency. And the defense is solid. I mean, it could be better. But once again, we're going to simulate to the end of the season. I can't imagine if I did this fully with every midseason mark. I would be exhausted with how many times I would be stopping. As we make the playoffs once again with Bryce Young, let's go ahead and take a look and see if he re-signed another year on his deal, because he just wants to do all these one-year deals right now, as he is in year 16 at age 37, and he does it again. He does it again. Fantastic. I'm here for it. Woo! Fantastic. All right, stats and awards on the season. And see, I would first in offensive yards, but I would rather him just sign another long term and not do this 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year situation. But 20th in defensive, not the greatest. 5,300 yards, 45 TDs, and 15 interceptions for Bryce Young. Still at the top of his game right now, even though he is a low overall. Hey, man, you got to get past the Rams to be able to get really into the playoffs, as we are in the wild card right now. And we're going to look to get to the divisional, passing the Rams, and we do that. We have to face the Philadelphia Eagles. We beat the Rams 42-21, and we got to think the same for the Philadelphia Eagles as we do it again. And we're facing the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC Conference Championship, 13-4, as we're going to simulate to the Super Bowl to see who ends up making it, and another one bites the dust, and we don't make it for like the third time straight of going to the NFC Conference Championship. It's unfortunate, man. It's definitely unfortunate for Bryce Young, because he keeps getting there, he keeps getting on the doorpost, and it just can't be done. It just can't be done by him. And none of our players win any MVPs except for Offensive Rookie of the Year for our wide receivers. So that's great for him. But Bryce Young doesn't win any more awards. He only won Offensive Rookie of the Year and hasn't won an MVP his entire career. So that's why I haven't stopped on any of the awards, because he just hasn't gotten them. So simulate to the draft. I'm assuming that he's not going to retire all of a sudden. So I'm just going to simulate to the draft, see if the cap goes down at all, or up maybe. But if the cap goes down, then that means they made some signings. And if it doesn't, then that means they're still being complacent and not bringing anything for Bryce Young on this team. As we are getting to the draft, and we're at 124 mil. Let's go ahead and look at the transactions that have happened, as Bryce Young was the top leader in passing yards. Panthers, we signed a right end. We signed a tight end to a 4-year deal. We signed a wide receiver. Wow. We actually did some things this offseason, as our halfback retires before our quarterback. I mean, if this isn't a sign, Bryce Young, retire, bro. Retire, bro. I mean, all kudos to you for still going, but damn, man. You got your whole team that you used to have gone, and the running backs after that, and you're still pushing. But hey, probably his last season, hopefully his last season. I'm praying that it's his last season at this point. Draft recap, we'll see if we got anybody. I don't assume that we would have. And a 73 overall isn't bad. It's a left tackle. We keep getting depth at the offensive line, which is great because we have it set up for the future. But we're going to simulate to the start of 2039. And Bryce Young is going to be a 83 overall. He's getting bad. He's getting bad. This actually might be the last season. It actually might, because he was an 86, 87 for a minute. He still had some gas in him. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it's his last. We're going to simulate to the playoffs, see if he's able to take him one last time. But if not, that's the end of Bryce Young's career. And we do not make the playoffs. And we're going to see if this is Bryce Young's last year on his contract. If they try to keep him for another year, that's going to be horrible. That's going to be so bad. Fuck me. Oh my gosh, bro. You're an 83 overall. Why are you still in the league? Like, you probably already have all the stats in the world. You already probably have the top stats. We're going to look at them. We're going to look at them because he's top 3 all time. He has 86,000 yards. You must really want to pass CJ Stroud and Patrick Mahomes if you're going to be playing out this next season. That is outrageous. 23rd in offensive yards, and we went 18th in defensive. Jesus. 4,400 yards, 39 TDs, and 11 interceptions for Bryce Young. A definite fall off from previous seasons. 9-8 though. Still a winning record, but it's not enough to make the playoffs. And now CJ Stroud retires. So his counterpart has retired, but he still hasn't. He still hasn't retired. He's really going to play out this last year of his contract. I am going to simulate. No, I'm going to simulate to the season, and we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. I'm not even going to look at the roster. I'm not even going to take no deep dive on the roster either. We're going to see what overall Bryce Young is, and we're going to simulate the season because I love doing this as much as the next person. But this man has played almost 20 years in the league. It's almost like if somebody predicted that Tom Brady was going to do a 20-year career and tried to simulate that back in whenever he got drafted, they would be livid right now. They would be livid. Oh my gosh, what overall is he? What overall is he? He is going to be he's normal development, 79 overall. You guys are not re-signing him. You guys are not re-signing him. He significantly fell off this offseason. We're simulating to the end, to the playoffs, and we're going to see how many yards he gets on the season and see if he finally passes Patrick Mahomes and possibly takes the top spot. And they go 4-13. I cannot imagine that they re-sign this man to another year on his contract, or unless they really want to be dog shit for another year, because that's what it's gotten to. That's what it's gotten to. Bryce Young, 79 overall. They have not re-signed him, so that means this is going to be his last year of his deal. And I've never been more happy to complete a simulation as I am with this one. We're going to look at the stats and awards. He got 4,100 yards on the season. So that barely missed him by 300 yards. He barely missed Patrick Mahomes by 300. Now you need to lace him up for one more game. He's going to get, that is disappointing, 90,159 yards, but he's the leader in passing touchdowns, so that's what matters. That's what matters right there. I mean, he can have that. He can definitely have that. That means he scored more points than him, so that definitely matters there, but we're going to simulate to the offseason as we went 4-13 on the season, and we're going to see if he ends up officially retiring from the team. And that will be the best day of my life because the 2040 recap, officially, none of our players make any awards as they really haven't throughout this whole thing. You've seen it whenever they do. And we're going to go to the re-signing period and officially see that Bryce Young has retired from the NFL and the Carolina Panthers, as he did stay a Carolina Panther his whole career, $194 million in cap space, because that means that the one and only Bryce Young has left the building. Kyle Shanahan was a defensive coordinator? What? Excuse me. You have got to be fucking kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. I wasn't being serious when I told you to lace him up for one more year, gang. I was not being serious. I was most definitely not being serious. All right, we are simulating to the next season. We went 4-13, so I'm sure they're going to get a prospect that's going to be insane, but I'm trying to get through this career. It is Bryce Young's career. It is not the Carolina Panthers simulation. It is the Bryce Young simulation. So we're getting through this as soon as we can because I am about to fall asleep on this table right here, right now. 2040 off season. Let's get it pushing. Let's get it pushing. I'm sure he's going to be horrible. Absolutely horrible. He's not even on the team anymore. Why did all that happen then? Okay, well, we're going to look at it officially. League transactions. And the Panthers. Excuse me. So he just left. Like, he's just gone. Where did Bryce Young go? Where did Bryce Young go? He's not on the team anymore. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look because I don't know where he went. NFL records, Bryce Young. I can't look on here, so I think he's done. I think he is done. He's not here. Okay, hold on. Is there NFL? Yeah. So, yeah, he's gone. Bryce Young is gone. I mean, I was expecting to see, Bryce Young retired, but, I guess Madden didn't want to show me that at least. But officially, Bryce Young has retired. He had a pretty legendary career, as you've already seen. He was second in passing yards, but first in passing touchdowns. He only won one Super Bowl, unfortunately for him. Made it to about 6 or 7 NFC conference championships, and won 4 or 5 of them. I can't show you specifically because I don't know how to. Oh, look, here we go. Bryce Young. There we go. 1 Super Bowl, 5 NFC Conference Championships, and 17 yearly awards, which basically means it can be weekly ones or whatever. So 5 appearances in the Super Bowl, and he only won 1. So not quite the same as Patrick Mahomes, but you take what you can get. You take what you can get. But Bryce Young goes on to have a more legendary career than CJ Stroud. And officially, the Bryce Young career simulation is over. If you enjoyed that, please let me know down in the comments below. I'll make sure to do the next one during the daytime, so I'm not like this at the end. But I can do CJ Stroud. I can do any of the QBs or any just regular players and just follow them throughout their career. But let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like on the video so more people can see it. And again, I will see you in the next video. Peace.